It says Israel kills beloved Palestinian writer, poet, professor Refaat al-Arir. The post says, we are grief-stricken and enraged to hear that Israel has killed beloved Palestinian professor, writer, poet, and activist Refaat al-Arir. Refaat's constant English language updates kept many around the world informed about Israel's ongoing genocidal assault on Gaza. Today, Israel killed Refaat, bombing his sister's home and killing him, his brother, his sister, and her 4 children. This was rough. So this is a gentleman that is a resident of Palestine that was killed as of the last couple days ago, and it sucks because I found out that this person was following me on Twitter, and the reason why I mentioned that this person was following me on Twitter is because this brings it so close to home that it hurts, because it's just like, imagine somebody who you may have met, on social media, and then you find out they were murdered by a government like Israel. Like, how would you feel? Like, how would you take that? So here is something that he said when he was alive and he living in Gaza. Let's take what he said and remember his words, and let it be burned in our memories.
We know that it's very bleak, it's very dark. There's no way out. If there's no water, there is no way out of Gaza. What should we do? Like, drown? Like, commit mass suicide? Is this what Israel wants? And we're not going to do that. And I was telling some friend the other day that I'm an academic. Probably the toughest thing I have at home is an expo marker. But if the Israelis invade, if they charge at us, open door to door to massacre us, I'm going to use that marker, throw it at the Israeli soldiers, even if that is the last thing that I would be able to do. And this is the feeling of everybody. We are helpless. We have nothing to lose. We know that it's very bleak, it's very dark.
So that last sound you heard was a bomb going off.
But they're the bad guys, I guess.
But they are the bad guys. And so that was from Refaat. And it's like, what do they do? What do people like him do in this instance? It's heartening, because you look at people like him that tried to speak out about what was going on, and people will say, well, they only went after him because they wanted to go after the militants. But you're literally killing innocent people at the same time.
He literally said he doesn't have a gun. I have a marker that I'll use. What threat do a lot of these people who are killed actually pose to Israel, other than how Jaybefaunt taught us a demographic one? Just the fact that they exist is enough for Israel to feel threatened, and it's disgusting to see all this go down.
Yeah. So let me share this. This was a post on Instagram. It says Israel kills beloved Palestinian writer, poet, professor Refaat al-Arir. The post says, we are grief-stricken and enraged to hear that Israel has killed beloved Palestinian professor, writer, poet, and activist Refaat al-Arir. Refaat's constant English language updates kept many around the world informed about Israel's ongoing genocidal assault on Gaza. Today, Israel killed Refaat, bombing his sister's home and killing him, his brother, his sister, and her 4 children. Refaat watched as Israel killed many of his students before they killed him, insisting that his organization, We Are Not Numbers, always does, that they were full human beings with dreams and words and whole inner lives, not just casualties of Israel's brutal violence. Now we insist the same for Refaat. He was not a number. His death is a shocking reminder of the urgency to call for a permanent ceasefire. Not one more Palestinian life should be taken. To save lives, link in bio to contact your representatives, be outspoken online and in person. It's what Refaat asked of you. It is what all Palestinians in Gaza need. So this is just horrible, horrible. And many people in independent left media are speaking about what happened to him and mourning his loss as we speak. I know Katie Halper has spoken out about his death as well. Really, it's disgusting what we have seen as far as the murder of many people who are Palestinian, who are just doing what they know how, is to speak out and to share the what's going on so that people can fight for something, fight for liberation.
It's just it's so, the fact that there's not a lot that we can do other than just spread these stories and then talk about and advocate. You can't help but feel super helpless in this point. Like there's almost, I see numbers between 17,000 and 20,000, upwards of 20,000 people just dead. And how many more people have to die in order for someone to finally get kicked in the butt enough to, like, okay, maybe we should hop and stop it? Or are they really going to sit here and allow these people to be exterminated like this and then move on like it's another Tuesday or something like that? I mean, we do what we can with spreading information, but it's still, it just never feels like enough. Never does.
No, you're absolutely right on that. And I want to share something that was from him directly. I want to make sure I go straight to his page for this because so let me just share with you guys this, because I was like, he looks familiar. And then when I saw this, when I saw it says follows you, that's when it hit me hard. And so I'm going to read his pinned tweet. His pinned tweet was from November 1st, which was a few days ago. It says, if I must die, let it be a tale. He said, if I must die, you must live. To tell my story, to sell my things, to buy a piece of cloth and some strings. Make it white with a long tail, so that a child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dad, who left in a blaze, and bid no one farewell, not even to his flesh, not even to himself. See the kite, my kite you made, flying up above, and thinks for a moment an angel is there, bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope, let it be a tale.
I'm telling you, man, I haven't. A lot of things that I've learned since this conflict is one, how loving the religion of Islam is. I I'm not afraid to admit that I was pretty ignorant. I never thought like Islam was counter to progress, but I just didn't know much about it, other than the basic things you learn. But the love and faith of these people, it is inspiring, and it makes men like him to understand that they could be martyred, but don't let my martyrdom stop us from reaching where we need to go.
Yeah. And so there was a vigil for him last night, which, is beautiful, but he should still be alive. And so the fact is that they're murdering innocent civilians. And to be honest with you, if you are fighting a resisting illegal occupation, which is legal by international law, you have that right. I have to be careful with how I word, things, but it should not, people like him are not soldiers. People like him were not somebody who was on the front lines. They were just educating people about Gaza, educating those of us about what was going on. Teaching. This is a teacher. And so when people talk about him and say, well, he was for terrorism, that is absolutely false.
That's nothing. That's all these people have. They'll use a terrorist.
Yeah. And so I want to share something else as well. I want to make sure I find it exactly. Because he actually brings out, because a lot of people were trying to demonize Refaat for a reply that he did on Twitter. And I just want to address that because a lot of people okay. So let me go to this initial tweet so that we get this full context. So, because everybody was responding to me too. So Mark Lamont Hill, who does very good work, he says, "Rest in peace, comrade. May your sins be forgiven and your grave made spacious and full of light." Somebody came in and said this dude made fun of Hamas baking a baby alive.
Hamas never baked a baby alive, so he can't really make fun of that.
Yeah. Mark Lamont Hill responded and said, no, he made fun of a ridiculously false claim. He was mocking the absurdity of the claim. Are you saying he deserved to die? And
wow.
Yeah. And this is wild because, you know, it's it's wild because a lot of times when they will constantly look for a reason for someone perishing. It's just like, for instance, with George Floyd, they said, well, he had drugs in his system. What do you expect? Instead of actually realizing that he died from cardiac and pulmonary arrest. But if you say that, then they try to make excuses to ease their conscience.
Yeah, they do it just on the basis of if a black person is killed by the police, there's always that 13% of the population, 50% of the murders. For one, taking those numbers is absurd. But even if it was the case that is accurate, that 50% of murders is actually committed 100%, well, not 100, but by black people, and it's been confirmed and convicted, and they don't get overturned, how in the world is that still a justification for whatever misconduct that leads to the death of someone being arrested? It's people, if they want somebody, they'll make an excuse for anything that they want to justify their position because they don't want to change it. Right? I don't know where the motivation comes from, but it's used everywhere, and that's why the Palestinian plight is so relatable to the Black American plight, which gets me into the FBA people who just don't understand what solidarity actually means.
So here's what something that's going to haunt Barry Weiss for the rest of her life. So Refaat, this is the tweet that everybody was referring to. So David Ifun says a baby was found in an oven, that's unsubstantiated, baked to death by Hamas terrorists. Leading Israeli first responder recounted gathering last night. His group was among the first to respond and witnessed the October 7th atrocities. So they say, oh my God, they put babies in ovens, which is unproven. And basically joking about the absurdity, Refaat says, with or without baking powder.
Like, right? Honestly, everything that actually happened they're talking about on October 7th, Hamas took the time to bake a baby. That's the line they're going with.
Yeah. And then Barry Weiss actually said, here's Refaat Al-Darir joking about whether or not an Israeli baby burned alive in an oven was cooked with or without baking powder. Again, that is completely unproven, just like the beheaded babies thing. It is unproven, right? So Refaat responded. He said, if I get killed by Israeli bombs or my family is harmed, I blame Barry Weiss and her likes. Many maniacal Israeli soldiers already bombing Gaza take these lies and smears seriously, and they act upon them. Now he's dead. So now, what of it, Barry Weiss? He's gone. He's gone. What do you say now? Are you gonna stand by what you said?
It looks like she's still on the let's take out Hamas type stuff. Like she's not gonna change. I mean, why would she?
It's just wild because my thing is, like, even if you want to take them out, fine. But why aren't you advocating for Israel to take its special forces and to go in and distract the enemy? Why are you advocating for constant shelling and bombing of places where innocent civilians live.
Like, especially if these people know where Hamas is, apparently. They know where the tunnels are. They know all this stuff. They say, oh, I confirm they're here. I confirm they're here. I confirm they're here. So if you know that, you're going to risk not only the civilians surrounding Hamas that they like to play as human shields, but also the hostages that are with Hamas. If you know where they are, but your solution to stopping them is just to bomb everything, where do, like, I fail to see how anyone could, in good faith, still stand behind that.
Yeah. So this hit Katie Halper pretty hard. And you know, even though I didn't know Refaat personally, I just want to give a shout out and, you know, condolences to people who knew him more closely, like Katie Halper. I'm very sorry, and I'm so sorry to anybody who was closer to him for the loss of a brilliant person. Just like I am sorry about the losses of all the over 17,000 Palestinians that have been killed in the last few weeks, as well as my condolences to everybody who has lost Palestinian loved ones in the last 75 years. I condemn the United States government for using our federal dollars in this, and I condemn the state of Israel for illegally occupying and committing apartheid in the land of Palestine. So I just want to make that clear.
Yeah.
So yeah. But that's unfortunately what happened. Let's take one more look. Dr. Refaat Al-Arir, you will be forever in our memories. So thank you so very much for all the work